Hey, welcome back. So, when it comes to positioning, when we are positioned in the sense of our company, ourselves, opportunities are more in the sense where we can reach them a lot faster. So, when you are positioned, there's more opportunities that's going to come your way. But when you're not positioned, what happened? You lose those opportunities, and sometimes you don't even exist in that space. So we're talking about making sure that you are positioned the right way. So this topic we're talking about SBIR topics. They are live. We know that on the 13th of September that the Reauthorization Act was reauthorized to provide $4 billion annually for SBIR and SITR grants. So come on into the Executive Innovation Show. I'm your host, Chevy. And as your federal execution partner, business development consultant, trainer, and author, I help established tech founder like yourself to pursue SBIR, which stands for the Small Business Innovation Research, and federal opportunities through qualified proposal and strategic partnership so that you can truly get your phase one proposal through the door without you sacrificing more time and capacity. Because I know, based on my experience, based on founders that I've supported, that they don't have the capacity and time to go out and find, identify, and write the proposal and put it all together. And that's why they brought me in. So come on in, drop in the chat what you do, because also what I'd love to do on the show live is to welcome you, but also share what you do, because you never know when it comes to building and creating those opportunities and positioning yourself. There might be someone in the chat watching, listening, and reading the information that you post in the comments. So drop it in there. And I want to welcome my first live person here with me. We have Shanella Maxwell tuning in from the grocery store. LOL. Hey, come on in, come on in. Well, I appreciate you joining me, tuning in, and happy birthday to your amazing daughter, which is also my niece as well. So happy birthday to Savannah. Hopefully you didn't mind me saying that, my sis. But happy birthday to my beautiful, amazing, smart, intellect, artistic, beautiful niece, who is now 11 today. But back to the show. So we're talking about position, and the reason I'm talking about positioning, because topics are live. And what you may not understand, maybe you're new into the SBIR space. And if you're new into the SBIR space, I want you to drop a 1 in the chat. If you have been in this space and you tried to submit multiple proposals already, but you have not heard anything, drop a 2 in the chat. If you like, hey, Chevy, I've submitted before and I didn't win, but I got feedback, drop a 3 in the chat, because I want to see where you're at and who's actually tuning in. So thank you for doing that in advance. And today's Wednesday, which is the first Wednesday of the month. And if you're not aware, Department of War, the first Monday of every month, the first Wednesday of every month, they drop their topics. Okay. And that means as a founder, you need to make sure that you are positioned before those topics are dropped, because there's a process and there's a time frame. And the time frame for Department of War, when it comes to SBIR, it's not long. That runway is not long at all. Okay. And when it comes to proposal information and the process and solicitation process, there's a process that you have to understand. So, and the DOW actually posted this to, I think yesterday. And I was trying to create where I can show you all the topics and all the things, but for some reason the website was not coming up. It just kept doing that circle, but I'm like, okay, we'll just work with what we have. Okay. So what I've learned based on the way, it from my experience. So the agency, whether that's Department of War, Department of Energy, National Science Foundation, NASA, Department of Transportation, they're going to say, hey, it's like just like a contract. This is a pre-information. Here are the topics that will be released. Okay. This is the 3-phase process of really positioning yourself to submit your first SBIR Phase 1 proposal. And as you come in, drop any questions that you may have about the SBIR process. And I'm talking about Department of War today because it is Wednesday. Like I said, they do drop topics, and those topics are sometimes over 100 topics because they have a need and they want you to come in and fix that need and support that need. And also, I'm going to be sharing a quote from the Emil Michael, which is the Undersecretary of War Research and Engineering rep. And this came from an article that was on the Department of War website that was published on the 29th of April, and how that ties into you as a company being positioned, because it's alignment. That positioning goes along with your alignment. So the first thing when it comes to the stages of solicitation is the pre-release. That tells you, here are the topics that we have available, and this is your time to really look and see, okay, does my innovative idea or prototype, whatever you're building, fits into what they are looking for, okay, which I've talked about before. And then they also give you the opportunity where it's like, okay, now you can also provide questions during that pre-release. That's where you get to talk to the actual program manager for that specific topic to say, hey, based on what they're asking for, you get to submit additional questions. And this is something that I did for one of my past client, which was looking at all the pre-release topics, identifying 2 to 3 topics that were in alignment with their innovative idea, and then saying, hey, what questions do you have? Because you're the expert. So I'm going to ask you, what questions do you have that we need to submit on behalf of your company, on behalf of what the pre-release topics are, so that you can have some more clarity, but also understanding of what they're actually looking for. So that is great. So that is part of the position, making sure that you have the time and capacity to not only look at the topics, but really look at what questions do you want to pose, because also those questions that you do ask, it for everyone to see. So you have to be very strategic and mindful of what you're asking and the way you're asking that specific question, but still be able to get your answer, if that makes sense. And then you have the open process. So you have the topics now, then you have the open, to where now you get to submit. That means like you have positioned yourself, you have made the decision to say, yes, my company fits this specific topic or this multiple topics, because you can't submit for multiple topics. Okay. But during that time, you can still ask questions, but you're not getting feedback. You're not getting responses from the actual program manager. And then there's the closed process. So the closed process, that means we're done. You can't do anything. And that means if you try to submit after the deadline, don't waste your time. Do not waste your time, because one thing about SBIR from my experience is you have to position yourself from beginning to end to where you identify the topics, you ask your questions if you have any, you write that proposal, you make sure it is within compliance, but also it is submitted on time. And when I say on time, I'm not saying the day of the deadline. And the reason I'm saying is because from experience and using DSIP, which is a system where you have to go in and submit your proposal and make sure everything is aligned, you're going to get kicked out. You're going to get, like little things that you have to adjust, because there are specific formulas in that system that you have to make sure that, whether it's your budget, whether it's your documents that you have to upload, all of that has to be in compliance, because if it's not, it will reject it and you will not move forward. You will see that arrow, that red arrow saying this budget is too much. You're all by, $10,000. You're all by $2. Like, it has to be precise. Okay. And I'm stressing this because I want you to understand the criticalness of being positioned and aligned with that agency, with the agency topic, with the compliance, and also with the submission. Position. We got to harp on that. Welcome, the Slay Queen, Rochelle Hemingway. Thank you for tuning in from Maryland. And she said, hi, Queen. Thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate you being here as well. And we're talking about SBIR topics that are live today. NASA already has their topic as well too. So again, topics are out, but are you positioned? We have $4 billion available to you as a tech founder this year in fiscal year 2026 to tap into, and the quote that I want to share, I'm going to get off my phone. And this is an article is titled "The Authorization Accelerate Tech for War Department." So again, reauthorizations accelerate tech for War Department. Keyword: accelerate. So your innovative idea, product is to accelerate. Okay. And two things I want to share in here. And it talked about pretty much as soon as the bill was signed, there were pretty much already solicitations ready, 90 topics. Okay. This is according to the Undersecretary of War for Research and Engineering, Emil Michael. Hopefully I'm pronouncing the first name correctly. If not, forgive me. Okay. And what he shared, and I quote, he says, "Our small business partners bring the grit, the speed, and the agility that the force needs to win." Okay. The agility, the grit, the speed, and the agility of the joint forces, that means all the branches to win. Okay. Moving forward, every innovation dollars we invest, including through SBIR, must deliver bleeding edge capability to our military that can scale rapidly and remain cost effective for the American taxpayer. So again, it's not just I have this grand innovative idea. It has to make sense. It has to be positioned and aligned with the needs of that department. Does it align with the Department of War? So as you're building and you're looking at topics, you have to look at, does it align with what that agency is specifically looking for? And there's another thing that I wanted to share. Let me go. I want to make sure I quote it correctly, because I feel like this is just now validating again. So yeah, that part said, shared that already. So again, you have to make sure it aligns. And then another thing that this individual shared, let me find it. Actually, I took let's see. All right, so this is the second thing, and I'm sharing this because as a tech founder, I want you to understand how critical and important it is for you as a small business who is tapping into SBIR or SITR. Okay. And SITR is just a small business technology transfer. And he said, this is the Undersecretary of War for Research and Engineering. And he said, the greatest innovation happens in small businesses. Small businesses doing innovative work in space, artificial intelligence, hypersonic research, and quantum. For instance, will ensure U.S. warfighters can confidently face the emerging threats from adversaries. So again, this is more validation for you as a founder to understand why you are needed, why your innovation is needed to support Department of War. And you have to be positioned for that. Welcome, Samantha. Thank you for joining in from New Jersey. I appreciate you being here. And ladies, please drop in the chat what you all do, because my purpose of doing this live show is not to share, is not only to connect, but also to connect you all who are tuning in, whether you're watching this live or later on, to connect with other business owners who could potentially be your partner or collaborator in the future. So yes, you want to make sure that you're positioned, and we're talking about Department of War and the topics that they have available and the 3 processes that you need to apply into your process of making sure that you are positioned. And I do this through helping clients with my POP method, which is, POC, which POPC, which is like positioning, outreach, partnership, and compliance. And I'll talk more about that shortly. But before I get into that, I want to talk about the release that Department of War has available right now. as I stated, I wanted to bring this live so I can show you all, but the website was not letting me be great today, and that is okay. So I was able to get some information based on their LinkedIn page. And for Department of War, as I mentioned, they do have release topics every Wednesday. So, and this is a monthly thing. So for fiscal year 25, they are on their final release for 12, and the 12 representing the 12th month, because funding was on hold. So everything is now back into flow. And if you go to the website when it's available, the topic close May 13. So that is right around the corner. That is next week. And what I've said before with Department of War, when it comes to their SBIR topics, the process from pre-release to open to close, it is not long. You know, some agencies like Department of Energy may have a 6-month window from pre-release to open and close. Some may have 2 months. DoD may have 30 days. You know, you never know. You never know. So you have to be positioned to move fast. And then, so that was for fiscal year 25, which is the final cycle for 2025. So fiscal year 26, release 1 and 2 is out. Those two things are out. Release 1 right now, it opened up on May 6th, which is today. Okay, so when it comes back online, you have to make sure that you are looking at the topics. Okay, right now my nose is just like trying to, release some things. So like I mentioned, the open topic is today, and then it closed June 3rd. So that lets you know you got about not even a full 30 days to get that proposal submitted. So now you had the opportunity, if you were positioned and if you were tracking, you had the opportunity to see what topics were released. Okay. And now it is open. That means you get to submit that proposal based on the topic that you selected. And you have to do it by the 3rd of June, because after the 3rd, too late. Okay. And then they have another release, which is release 2, because again, they're trying to make sure that they get as many small businesses to submit based on what they have available, based on their needs. So they are currently behind because, again, reauthorization was just reauthorized the 13th of April. Okay, so this second release, pre-release May 6th, which is today as well. So you have another list of topics that you can go and research and identify. And then it opens up on May 27. So that means today, new topics are out. You get to read up, look at the attachments, make sure it's in compliance with what you want to do, what you want to submit on. But also, this is your opportunity to go and provide your questions that you are looking to get answers for. And after that time frame, so you have May 6th to May 27th. So that's about 21 days. Okay, that's 21 days in between from the time it was released to get your questions answered, but also to start submitting on the 27th of May. 21 days. That is a fast turnaround. That's when you can begin to submit. But then also you still have until June 24th. So you're looking about 2 months from pre-release to submission, like final submission, which will be June 24th. Okay. And I'm sharing this because I want you to understand how that timeline moves fast for you as a founder. And I know that you're already at capacity with your team, serving current clients, in the lab, building. So you may not have time to do the things that I'm sharing with you right now. And that's okay, because that's why other tech founders have brought me in to do exactly what I am talking about, to go ahead and identify and help them position. And this is my POP method, is positioning them to make sure that we're not wasting time, we're not wasting resources, and we're not wasting money. Because your goal is to get through the door. Your goal is to provide and create a proposal package that is merit worthy, because that's what the reviewers want to see. They want to see, is this a merit worthy proposal? Did it follow the guidance? Is it positioned correctly? Also, we look at the outreach aspect of the POP method, which is outreaching, identifying the agencies, the program managers, asking specific questions, because I know that you are at capacity already and you don't have the time, and you don't want to take away the time from you delivering your work, your services, to attend Q&A webinars from that agency, which is essential, because now you are actually hearing and the responses, and also you're able to ask questions live as well, dependent on the agency. So outreach is a big part of it as well too. And not just outreach for the agency, that means outreach for partnership. That is part of the process. And it depends on what you are building. If you are building something that you feel like, hey, having this person in this proposal is going to help because it's a need, then that is something that I do. I do the outreach on behalf of your company to bring that aligned partner to really solidify your proposal and increase the opportunity for that proposal to be awarded, because that is the end goal. And then compliance. Compliance is a big aspect, because you will get rejected if you are not in compliance. And I harp on this all the time, and I talk about positioning quite often. And I do this because it is repetitive, and these are things that they want to see. This is not me saying, hey, you must. This is like required. Like, are you positioned for this? Can you deliver on this? Are you in compliance with this? Whether it's security, because again, depending on what you're building, and with Department of War, you have to have some type of security level for what you're building, because more than likely it's a critical piece of asset that you're building that thing for. And someone who has served in the military for 22 plus years, who has worked readiness, who has been behind closed doors in secret meetings, all the things, I understand and know what goes on behind closed doors in those rooms. So definitely, if you are in a place where you know that you don't have the time, but you know that you have this amazing, innovative idea to tap into SBIR, and you know that you need someone to come in to help you, who has the background, the knowledge, the execution, who has done this before, but allow you to really get back into your space of building and doing, but have someone to put that final package from beginning to end for you, then I want you to reach out to me. I don't want you to be sitting there trying to do this all by yourself and still running your team, still, being a family person, whether a mom, a dad, taking care of, elderly parents. Like, you have a lot on your plate already. But if you're like, hey, I'm going to do this on my own, I applaud you, and I say go forth and do what you have to do. But if you're doing that and you've done that before, and you know that, okay, I've done this multiple times and there's no traction, then you may need to readjust and really look at, what am I doing wrong? How am I not positioned? Why is it my SBIR proposal not going through the door? Okay. And that's what I help you with. So today was all about looking at the topics. They're live. $4 billion is available for small businesses. Okay, for small businesses. And I just read what the Undersecretary of Research and Engineering stated. Okay. And it's all about making sure our small business partners brings the grit, the speed, the agility that the joint force needs to win. As a military person, I get this. Okay. And I know Rochelle gets this as well, because she's a retired command chief of 30 years of serving in the United States Air Force. Like, we get this. And if you're someone who is not affiliated with the military or ever been at all, and you might be like, okay, I'm kind of confused, because it is a different world. But that's why you have me. And this Undersecretary of Research and Engineering is telling you they need your product. They need your ideas. And they want to make sure that you are what you're bringing is going to impact total force to execute the mission, to win whatever comes in their space. Okay? So again, if you have an innovative idea that falls into those categories of I'm about to say emotional intelligence, of artificial intelligence, hypersonic research in quantum space, reach out to me. I will love to support you. And Rochelle said, yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes. And she saluted. I love it. Yes, because we've been in that space for decades. Okay. So we truly understand the grit, the resilience, the readiness that is needed, the stress that comes with it as well. But the ability to still keep going, because at the end of the day, our goal is to fly, fight, and win. Air Force, okay? I'm representing the Air Force just like Rochelle is representing the Air Force. We're both retired Air Force individuals. So yes, if this is not validation for you to tap into this space, stop sitting around, stop waiting for the next opportunity. Opportunity is coming every day in this space. Topics are out today. Topics came out for NASA yesterday. I got an email in my email list. Topics are going to be flowing consistently. And it's not just one topic. These are multiple hundreds of topics coming out. And these topics are available. And more likely, something fit your innovative idea. So my recommendation for you, if you're serious and you're tired of wasting time, you're tired of wasting resources, and you want someone that you can bring in as a partner to help you execute this in the time frame, position it, help you write it or do it for you, then I want you to send me the word ready. You can DM me, send me the word ready, and we can connect in the DM. We don't even have to hop on any calls. Okay? Because my goal is really trying to understand where you're at and where you're trying to go. And then let's see if I can support you. As you watch this later on, #replay, share this with your tech founder friends, your tech founder, your tech communities as well. And join me here every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time on the Executive Innovation Show. And I'm your host, Chevy, and as your federal execution partner, business development consultant, trainer, and author, I help established tech founders like yourself to pursue SBIR, which stands for the Small Business Innovation Research and Federal Innovation Opportunities, through qualified proposal submissions and strategic partnerships, so that you can do what you love to do without adding more time and overextending yourself from all the things that you're already doing. But you want to submit a quality SBIR proposal. Or maybe you're like, hey, Chevy, I'm looking for identified people who I can partner with. That is something that my company does as well. If that is like, we're just looking for partners, then reach out to me. And I want to thank Rochelle for being here, Samantha for being here, and Chanella for being here. I thank you all three for consistently supporting your friend, your girl. But thank you all so much for joining me in the Executive Innovation Show. And please go and subscribe to my YouTube channel on YouTube, same title as well. All right, y'all, but have an amazing Wednesday as always. And don't forget, the SBIR topics are live, and make sure that you are positioned for those opportunities so that you can tap into that $4 billion that is available right now. See y'all later. Thank you, Queen.